Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello and welcome to Learning to Glow. So happy you are here with me today. We have an amazing episode for you with guest Natalie with the Space of Gratitude. Natalie has over 20 years of luxury spa consulting, leadership, and wellness experience. With the Space of Gratitude, her vision is to inspire people to create a lifestyle of gratitude through the daily practice of gratefulness, through retail offerings, sound therapy, and lifestyle coaching. Inspiring people to own their inner space, ambiance, and outlook with gratefulness, Space of Gratitude strives to teach people to create a solid foundation for conquering challenges, create positive outlooks, and living balanced. We had such a great conversation about how we can incorporate daily wellness into our lives with gratitude practices. Natalie embodies this lifestyle, and I saw that firsthand when I worked with her in 2008. We worked in a 5-star resort in Southern California. I loved her tips for getting daily self-care and incorporating gratitude into her daily life. And she even shares how she does that with her kids. We talk about how this is a practice and how the tools she uses help in those challenging moments we all have. She shares about sound therapy. She performs the sound baths. She performs in different settings such as spas, yoga studios, and she even does it online. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I do. Natalie is lovely. You can follow her on Instagram, and she is at Space of Gratitude. She's on Facebook and Threads as well. And her website is spaceofgratitude.com. I'll make sure to link all of this in the show notes. The way that Natalie just embodies gratitude and joy is very contagious. You can just tell by listening to her that she lives her life this way. It's who she is. And I love her takeaways on how to incorporate that into your life, because we all have the challenges, we all have hard times, and her tips really are amazing for those times and just making it a practice in your life. So enjoy Natalie, and here is the episode. Welcome everyone back to Learning to Glow podcast. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Natalie. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on here today, Jessica.
It's so good to see you.
I know it's been a couple of years, right?
It's been a while. Yes, for sure. It's been a while, but I'm so excited that you're here because we're going to be talking about something that is so important. And I feel like, especially because we come from the wellness industry and we have a wellness background, speaking about gratitude it just goes kind of hand in hand with that wellness component and wellness space. But before we get into all of that, let us know a little bit about you. Introduce yourself. What's your background? All of that good stuff.
Of course. Yeah. So my name is Natalie, the owner of Space of Gratitude, and I've been in the wellness spa industry for over 20 years. I know Jessica and I, we really don't look like it right now, but we have. So I started off as a massage therapist and then quickly wanted to be a part of that forefront of wellness. And so I had the opportunity to open and manage many spas, many resort spas, many of them which Jessica and I met at a Forbes 5-star spa in California. And we were best friends from there. We just really hit it off, and because we had the same idea of what wellness meant. And for us, and for me particularly, it's not just a physical state, but it's a mental state. And I think that when you're in wellness can look different for many different people, because different people, right? We're going to be in different transitional wellness spaces. And so it's important when we talk about wellness to make it very specific to the individual. And so how I started Space of Gratitude was early on in my, career in 2000, probably 2009, I had transitioned from California, and I realized, wow, I've been grateful for a lot of wonderful opportunities. And for me in that space, I really think that gratitude, humility went hand in hand for me that allowed for me to propel my career. And so with Space of Gratitude, and we'll go deeper into that, I felt as if it was something that people needed and they truly desire to want to be able to experience it in their lives. And so what Space of Gratitude does is allow for people to practice it each and every single day and show you ways and show you the benefits of how to practice gratitude in your life. But most importantly, after you fill your cup, right, is to be able to share that gratitude with others. So that's how Space of Gratitude got started.
I love it. I love what you said about the mental peace and mental well-being. And that's something that we talk about on my podcast, because there's the wellness of drinking spa water and getting your lymphatic system moved, but like the
Mm-hmm.
mental piece is also such a huge piece that I don't
Yeah.
think was talked about as much. Especially, I feel like when we started, it was more the physical component to it, but how important that mental piece is. And I really relate to what you say about once you got into the wellness industry and the spa industry, how we just like it's so amazing and it's such a fun industry that it's like, okay, you just know like this is something that I love and this is something I want to be a part of. I felt the
Yeah.
same way. And yes, we did meet at a spa all those years ago. And it's just one of those things that I always, because spa and wellness go hand in hand. They are just
Yeah.
one and the same. And so I always really loved that about the spa industry and being a facialist, is that I had that wellness component to it. I think that makes it so much more satisfying, I guess. So when
Mm-hmm.
you talk about your gratitude and how you said something about using it daily, like what do you have
Mm-hmm.
a gratitude practice? Is that something that you intentionally practice and make it a daily ritual in your life?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And then just to kind of spin off of it as well and transition, when we talk about spa and what spa does, it's those moments that we want to be able to capture. It's slowing down in your day to say, I'm going to book an appointment for a facial. I'm going to book an appointment for a massage. But every day we may not have that spa element. And so some of the things that I do in terms of my gratitude practice is I'll get up, obviously get up in the morning and saying your thank yous, right? Saying your prayers, time to meditate. And I also get my family involved. I have two little boys and a husband. And so along with that, they're part of this wellness journey with me, right? So it's just getting up in the morning, finding a quiet space, whatever that is. So it's a quiet space alone. You can all be in the same room, but it's a quiet space alone and thinking about something that you're grateful for. Sometimes we focus on the number, like one thing that you're grateful for, or two things that that you're grateful for, whatever it is. Allow for that to happen. For me, my daily practice will look like going outside. I have to have fresh air every single day. So whether that is me, and it's in between meetings, so whether it's me going outside, going around the block, or going outside on our deck and just sunbasking and just thanking God for the day, or listening to the birds, calling a friend is even part of my gratitude practice, where I can call a friend and say, how are you doing? And just really encouraging that friend and being grateful for that relationship that I have with a friend, right? So gratitude can go both ways. So sometimes it's where a gratitude practice could be you giving, or sometimes it could, this sounds horrible, can mean you taking. So what I mean by taking, it could be, as I mentioned, going outside and taking in those resources, taking in those, slow breathing breaths, or giving, whereas giving a phone call, giving a positive, email or text message to a friend, or giving, a gift. And then I also journal as well.
Mm.
So journaling will generally happen at the end of my day. And so within our space of gratitude, we have plenty of different gratitude tools, which we can talk about, whereas, a reflection on the day, three things that you're grateful for. And I think what people forget is the why part, right? So you can say, I'm grateful for this day. Well, what specific issue or what specific thing happened in the day? And sometimes it's interesting when you have children or anyone, they're like, I'm happy for my I got to go outside and play basketball. And it's like, okay, well, tell me about that experience. What made it so wonderful? What slowed you down in that moment? Was it playing with your brother? Was it getting some sun? Was it getting a little bit of exercise? Or was it because you could move your legs and your arms and really, try to dive deeper into the root of gratitude and what makes you happy? And I think when you figure out the root of your of gratitude, you start to tap in a piece of happiness, right? There's a degree, right, of gratitude where you get to a point where it creates joy, right,
Mm-hmm.
and your being. And that place is the place that you want to be, right, all the time. So if you can tap into that joy, because let me tell you, right, life is not easy. Life is not, everyone, we have challenges. There's different obstacles that we go through that will allow us to grow, and they're meant to be in our life for a reason, although sometimes they don't always seem like it. But that is what gratitude will do. So when we have those challenges, if we're able to tap into that small degree of why and where and how I'm happy in this moment, and take that piece, that slice of gratitude, and take it with us, we'll be able to overcome so many different obstacles in life, and we'll learn not to take things for granted.
I love that. What you said about your boys, and they are so adorable. Giving them that, when you talk about giving, when you're doing a gratitude practice, you're giving them such a gift of modeling this. So, I mean, these are tools that our kids can have forever. And it's something that I didn't grow up with, but it's so fun that my kids can, and that they can
Yeah.
sit back and have a feeling of gratitude, because really, when we talked about with joy and gratitude, that obviously those go together. I mean, it's hard to be in a
Mm-hmm.
bad mood when you're having a real true gratitude. When you're
Yeah.
feeling really
It
grateful for
can't help
something,
it.
can't help it.
Yeah. Your mind can't physically process a negative and a positive moment at the same time. Like, as smart and as limitless as the mind is, the brain only has the capacity for one positive thought one thought at a time. And so that thought is either going to be a positive one and a negative. And we've heard this. So it's like, change your thinking, allow it to be something positive. And, in life, as I said, challenges can come our way. And for me, right, instead of saying, looking at the half empty, right, the glass half empty, or choosing to complain, right? So it's that complaining thing, right? That we sometimes get, right, or comparing, or those C words, right, that come into place. And it's taking gratitude and saying no, in that moment, no, I won't let this happen. I won't let this negative thought linger, and I'm going to replace it with something else. So,
Yeah, and you
yeah.
really do live from that place.
Thank
You
you.
live your day like that, and I know that from working with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is so true and so powerful. We've talked about the gratitude practices, and it sounds like weaved in there, you have a lot of times of the day where you care for yourself, like the self-care piece, which I think
Hmm.
also goes so tightly with gratitude.
It
But,
does.
you talk about journaling and being outside in nature, and, those things all have a real scientific component to them as far
Yeah.
as the benefits of them. Tell us
Hmm.
about some of the other self-care practices and some of the other things that you share in your business that help
Yes,
people, because they're tools, right? Like,
of
we need
course.
to know how to do this, and sometimes it's like, okay, I want to start having moments for myself. I want to start dealing with my stress. Like, like you said,
Yes.
there's challenges. We are all facing challenges. What's something that I can do in those moments where I'm not feeling the gratitude, because I'm like, this
Hmm.
sucks, and
Yeah.
I'm not feeling joy? And, talk to
Yeah.
us about some of those tools that we can do to kind of help in those times.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, is breathing. As I said, that's
Yeah.
really key for me, is stopping and literally just giving myself a pause before I react to whatever the situation or whatever's coming my way, and to know that I don't have to respond right away, right? I have to give myself space, and to understand, and to prioritize. So I think that's huge when it comes to just gratitude and responding, and looking at an entire situation before you respond, because before you respond, you may not see the good in that moment, right? So when you have that space and that pause in that moment, so besides breathing, and taking that pause. This sounds really funny too within my gratitude practice. So I play sound bowls,
Yes, I
and
want to talk about that.
I have a gong that's like wider than the screen here. I have a big gong, and part of my day is walking over, because this is actually my desk. This is my workspace right here. I have computers. I have things in my workspace, and my gong is right over here. And I'll walk over to my gong and I'll just give it a good go. And so I really believe that this sounds funny. I really believe that contact with a sound instrument to create a vibration that's a healthy vibration is really important for the body, because that vibration goes into the body, it feeds the body, it heals the body, but then it also allows for your body to heal and to your chakras to be able to balance. And so, besides, I know you may not have a gong at home, but I also have, and this is a little different, right, from gratitude practice, completely different. You asked me, Jessica, what I do for self care.
I want to hear it.
I bought a body opponent bag, which
Okay.
stands for a bob, and it's like this UFC martial art. It's probably about as tall as me. I'm 5'2", and you just hit it. So same thing, within your day, right? Positive. This is all positive because we don't want to go hitting and vibrating anything, that could have a reverse effect. But it's literally it's you're punching this potty opponent bag. And so I have that. So besides my instruments, breathing, and but once again, if you don't have those available, right? I don't sell bulbs on my website or anything like that. I do sell sound instruments, which will help usher in that place of gratitude. As I mentioned, there's journaling. I sell sage, Palo Santo. Another great item that I sell, you might have seen this or you may have used this before, is the dried eucalyptus that you can hang in the shower. So for me, shower moments are very
Mm,
important to me. And I use that as my time to just reflect and unwind, whether it's a mask on my face, whether it's a scrub. I have this amazing like cloth loofah that I use, and I really take those moments of, shower and bath time. I have diffusers that I actually keep in the shower as well. And so that slows me down, and that brings me to a place of gratitude. And I really think that's the focus, is that when we go through life and we hustle and bustle and we go through, there's moments that passes by, and we get lost and we're not necessarily in the present. But when we can stay in the present, staying in that moment, that's when we can capture gratitude. That's when gratitude will whisper to us. And it's being able to recognize those moments and to just stop and pause. And so, yeah, so whether it's tea, I'm always an avid tea drinker. For me, that's what I love. Whether it's a wellness tea, but there's so many different ways that throughout my day I just capture gratitude. I have affirmations around the house on gratitude, which that kind of stops and allows for me to pause in my day. I do stretching constantly. I stand right now. I'm standing.
mm,
Um, and so movement is
yeah.
important. And I think that when you have, so those that practice gratitude tend to have a healthier lifestyle, right? And your body's in motion, a healthy motion. So I have a standing desk. Sometimes I stand, sometimes I sit. I have it's like a stepper underneath my desk, and it moves like this, and I move along with it. But these are all the benefits of gratitude, I think, that I'm sharing with you. So if you're practicing gratitude, they say you sleep better. So I actually have a oil that I place
Mm,
on my palms, and it's a sleep oil that I use. I have one that's called Defense as well. I sell room sprays, and so at my desk I have room sprays that I spray in the morning time, and that helps me practice gratitude. Once again, another key tip, if you have an office or you're inside, I always try to, if you're by a window, so my desk faces windows, and so I have the natural sunlight coming in and hitting me coming in. And if I can take a moment and look outside, I can say, oh wow, it's raining right now, isn't that beautiful? Or look at the wind blowing, or look at the trees. Or And so if you have an opportunity, so it's just, for me, it's natural. in terms of how I practice gratitude, but those are just some of the little things and the tools that you can use throughout your day. And so it's important to have them around you to encourage you and to make it a conscious effort to stop and pause throughout your day.
That's such good
And I know that
advice.
was a long answer. I know
No,
that was super long.
it's such it's really great advice because and obviously you can tell that it is what you said, it is a practice and it comes naturally to you now because you made it part of your life. Like that is just who you
Yeah.
are. But it's something that it does take time and to have little things that you can sprinkle in. I love that you have affirmations. Like you could walk down to the kitchen and you could read something. That's really
Yeah.
cool. And I love that you have a bob. That's so funny. My son did martial arts, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, you see like on any if you go to a Tony Robbins seminar or something, they are moving. You know,
Yeah.
that does have an effect on your state of mind. So those are all
Hmm.
really amazing tips. When I first started my wellness journey, I had already been in the skincare industry for years, working on client skin and as an educator for multiple skincare brands. When I learned about how the toxins in our personal care and beauty products could have a negative impact on our health, I knew I needed to make a change. I was used to the result-driven products that I was working with, and I was not happy with the natural products on the market at that time. Although they were safer and cleaner, they did not meet my expectations for results. I created Simply Just Skincare to deliver the results my clients demanded from their products while using natural, toxin-free ingredients. You can check out my clients' results and reviews on my website, simplyjustskincare.com. In 30 days, my clients have reported more hydrated skin, less appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and more of an overall glow. Our top sellers include our Repair Toner, our Hydrating Undo Serum with hyaluronic acid, and more. I am offering my listeners 20% off their first order with code PODCAST. Check it out in the link in my show notes to get glowing today. You know, I've actually used your gratitude boxes.
Hmm.
And you know, one thing I like to say is your products are all clean. Like, you know, I'm a big fan of using
Thank
non-toxic
you.
ingredients. Like that is something that you also provide, which I love. And I just had a guest on last week who was a new mom, and she was
Hmm.
talking about what you had said about the shower and
Yeah.
how, well, obviously we know in the spa industry they talk about this all the time, how powerful water is. It's healing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so she was saying her like non-negotiable is her shower at night,
Yes.
and making that part of her nighttime ritual where she can just have that time and space for herself, and how it changes everything for the day is the day is behind you. And I have to get her some of that eucalyptus from you because
Thank
she would love
you.
that.
Yes.
That is amazing. I'm gonna place an order for you with that for
Okay.
sure. But yeah, I feel like those are things that, and even if you're new to it or you're like, I'm really stressed out, I like make a list of some of the things that you mentioned, because then you can
Hmm.
use what you can when you can. It doesn't take extra time to look out the window and
Yeah.
say, I'm so
Yeah,
glad
that's
that
true.
it doesn't take any
A-
extra time.
It doesn't. And I just thought about it too. I have a very large gratitude jar, and it's just a huge jar this big. And in the moment, I was doing it every day. I kind of paused on that every day. But when I think about it, so throughout my house too, I have gratitude jars. So when guests come over the house, which is kind of tricky over COVID, but now they're over COVID, I'm like, yeah, I can do it again. So I have gratitude jars. And so when people come over, it allows for them to write something that they're grateful for and drop it in the jar.
Oh,
And I haven't necessarily gone back to read it because I feel like that's their space and their moment and how they were feeling. And then, as I said, I have a jar in my room, my office here as well. And so I think that's also just another practice that you can have for yourself. And then maybe for those that enter into your home, just something that they can do before they leave.
I love that. You know,
Hmm.
we had done a gratitude jar, and then we read everything at the end of the year. It was like a New
Yeah.
Year's Eve ritual, which
Yeah.
is like there's a lot of fun things you can do on the New Year's. I'm always like, okay, what's my like sorcery going to be today?
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question about something that you mentioned, which is how you do sound baths. And so some of
Hmm.
the listeners might not know what that is. So let
Yes.
us know, what is a sound bath? What do you do? What are some of the benefits? And, you know, introduce us to what that is.
Of course. Yeah. So sound bath is a funny word. It doesn't include any type of water. It sounds like it does, but sound bath is essentially the frequency of sound. So the tones and the music and the notes that you hear from various instruments. So instrument sound therapy can even be your voice, right?
Mm.
Sound therapy is oftentimes there's crystal bowls or copper Tibetan bowls or little tinksas or chimes, music that will mimic sometimes nature, but music that has a healing frequency. And when we talk about, oh, frequency and resonance, well, we know that the earth moves, right? And anything that moves is going to vibrate. And so, what sound does as it enters into your body is its own instrument. Really, people, your ears have drums, like real drums, when communication. So it hits on that drum, and that is how sound enters and travels through your body through those frequencies, right? Or through those waves that go into your body. And so when I play different instruments that may have different tones or different frequencies, some may be a low tone, some may be a higher tone, it goes into your body, and inside of your body allows for your cells to move, right? Because our body is made up of, 70%, 80% has a lot of water in it, right? That anything, if you throw a rock in a river, it's gonna ripple. Well, that's what our body does. When sound enters our body, our cells, they move. They're like, oh, this is different. It's a little interruption. And so if we're gonna interrupt our body, right, with sound, we want to make sure that it's a positive sound, right? A healing sound. And so through sound bath or sound therapy, that those healing tones and those healing frequencies enter into your body, and your cells just love it. It's like a workout for your body, right? And I'm patting myself because that's what it feels like. It gets your body at a perfect temperature or a perfect vibration to allow healing to happen in your body. And sometimes that healing, right, doesn't happen until we're right. But what sound therapy will do is allow for that healing process to happen right away because your cells are vibrating, they're moving, it may be a higher temperature, they're moving. And that is what the purpose of sound bath is, for that music, that frequency to enter into your body and your body go into a state of healing. And then it can go further on, right? There's things that are called, energy channels and chakras, and I like to educate my audience on chakras, but just from a basic fundamental level, sound baths incorporate a therapy element, and that music and the frequency and the vibrations enter your body, causing your body to relax. But then not only that, your brain waves will enter into a certain state, and that certain state is a very healing state as well. So it allows for your body to be in a very like meditative state where it doesn't, almost like right before you get ready to go to sleep, so you don't necessarily have to overthink, right? It's a stage where you're not overthinking anything. It's like the point where you, right before you go to sleep, is right there. And that's what the music does, and that's how your body reacts to those different instruments. So when we talk about sound therapy, everyone knows about the rain stick, right? That's pretty simple, or an ocean drum, or different like chimes. So that's what I do, and that's how I usher in gratitude through my sound therapy. And so my sound therapy is very intentional. Sometimes there's different intentions that sound healers will have, and they may say love, or today, the word that we're going to use is, healing, or the word that we're going to use is joy, or security, or safety. Well, mine's all of those, but I really put an emphasis on bringing gratitude and appreciation for that moment, and appreciation for self in that moment whenever I play. So it's fun.
It is, and I think if somebody's listening and has never experienced a sound bath, I definitely recommend checking it out, because like the first word that came to my mind when I think of a sound bath is healing. And just it has that component to it where you leave very, very centered, and you just are
Mm-hmm.
very relaxed. So when you do these sound baths, do you usually do them at a spa, or do you do like a yoga studio, or where do you perform them?
Yeah, it's all the above. So yoga studio, I've performed at different like concert halls or the Smithsonian. I did a few like out in the park, which have been pretty fun, or backyard, a friend's house. Yoga, definitely, as I mentioned, yoga studios and spas as well. And so I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. And so I have performed, I call it performed, which is a weird word when I think of myself as a music performer. I never really thought of myself as a performer, but I have instruments and I have to protect my instruments, and I do carry them to the different venues or the different places. So yeah, it's a yoga studio, a spa, different conferences. And so yeah, those are the different kind of venues, someone's home. I travel as well. And so those are just really exciting to be able to introduce. And so for me, I'm able to offer individual sessions or group sessions. I think later in this month at a resort, I have it's 20 guests that are interested in a sound bath, and that's going to be outside from the fitness center overlooking like a beautiful just terrace outdoor. So I'm excited about that because the scenery is just going to be beautiful. Or I'll play by a swimming pool. I did that before. So yeah, wherever I can spread the sound, the beautiful sounds of nature and frequency and healing, I would play it anywhere.
That's so awesome. I love it. So tell everyone if they are interested in learning more about Space of Gratitude, where they can find information about that and you, and just share us where I'll find you.
Of course. Yeah, of course. So once again, my name is Natalie, and my you can find me at spaceofgratitude.com, and that's space like the space around us of and gratitude.com. I'm also on social media platforms like Facebook as well as Instagram. I have a TikTok, and then there's the new threads. I'm on there too, but don't go. Haven't explored that, as well as Twitter, but at any social media channel at spaceofgratitude.com, and then as well as my website, spaceofgratitude.com.
And I'll link all this so it's easy for people just to
Yes,
click.
of course. And then my products, I almost forgot. So I do retail products. And so if you're interested in some of my products outside of the online platform, I do retail my products at Salamander Resort. It's located in Middleburg as well as the Washington, D.C. area, those two locations. And then I've got a couple of spas in Ohio as well. That Perennial Glow Spa also carries my actual physical products. So that's where I'm located at
That's
right
so
now.
exciting.
So
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, and definitely like I loved everything that I've gotten from Space of Gratitude, and I use
Thank
it, and
you.
I really love it, and I think everyone needs to go and check you out. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming on. This
you.
was amazing, and I just love, this is the kind of vibes I need we need this in our
Yeah.
life. We need to like be aware. We need to be intentional, right? Like
Mhm.
it's so easy for us to let our days get ahead of us and
Yeah.
away with us, and
Yeah.
to kind of get back centered and to bring some of these tools that you've shared with us, I think is like
Thank
so helpful.
you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll have a list of tips for you as well for your listeners that I can provide, because as I said, it's a daily thing, and it's certainly in the moment in terms of just the little things that you can do each day that will just bring that wellness and bring that gratitude in. It's easier than what you think. Yeah.
Absolutely. And everybody go follow Natalie because you do
Yes.
a great job on your
Thank
Instagram too.
you.
So thanks again. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.